Please call me Foon. My full name is Ting-Foon Chik, and as Sylvia's mentioned, I'm going to talk about Chinese astrology, about the 4 pillars. One chart, many lives. So when we talk about 4 pillars, when we talk about any form of astrology, the first breath that a baby takes, the first breath that you took when you were born, independent of your mother, that's what determines your astrology chart. That's what determines the 4 pillars chart. Now, every hour around the world, there's approximately 15,000 babies. 15,000 first breaths. And about 80 of those newborn babies are born in the UK. So today, in this hour between 3 and 4 o'clock, there's 80 babies who will have the same 4 pillars chart. But do all those babies, will they all have the same life? Will they all have the same destiny? To what extent does the 4 pillars, to what extent does any form of astrology determine what happens to your life? Okay, that's a very good point. Half of those are girls and the other half are boys. Okay, so boys and girls have the same natal chart and but they have different luck pillars. Thank you, Howard. Excellent question. Glad you spotted that. The 4 pillars of destiny. So for those of you who haven't encountered the 4 pillars, what we're talking about is the year pillar, the month pillar, the day pillar, and the hour pillar. Those are the 4 pillars. And each pillar comprises what's called a heavenly stem and an earthly branch. The heavenly stems can be yin or yang, and they are one of the 5 elements: water, wood, fire, earth, or metal. So that's how we get the heavenly stems. The earthly branches are like the 12 animals. That's the rat, the ox, the tiger, the rabbit, the dragon, the snake, the horse, the goat, the monkey, the rooster, the dog, the pig. So the 12 animal signs, the animal names are actually just names, convenient names for the branches, and the branches actually contain different elements. And what happens when the baby draws the first breath is it inhales the prevailing chi of the heavenly stems and the earthly branches. So that is the chi from the universe at the moment of birth. So that's the 4 pillars. Well, what is the 4 pillars? Are we all spiritual beings having an earthly experience? The 4 pillars is the structure of the spirit. It's like when you're a spiritual being, before you come to earth for your earthly experience, whether you know it or not, you sign up for a contract. It's like a job description. So when you apply for a job, everyone gets the same job description. How people do that job can be quite different. So the job description for you as a spiritual being having an earthly experience, you are one of 10 possible types of day master. The day master is your element. So you're either a water, wood, fire, earth or metal person, yin or yang. So that is one part of your structure of your spirit. And that's the stem of the day. The rest of the structure of your spirit is, of course, these 5 elements. But these 5 elements can mean different things. So these spirits, you can have power spirit, you can have your friends and competitors spirit, you can have your wealth spirit. Everyone's ears pricks up, wealth spirit, where's that? You can have your resource spirit, and you can have useful to you, how you can tap into that and what that element is, it's like understanding when you're given a job description the most important skill you need to have to do your job well. So, if you know your useful spirit, you can make, as a spiritual being, the most of your earthly experience. You can understand your luck. You can then use the element that's associated with you in your chart to do things in a way that bring you more luck for your success, for your relationship happiness, for your self-awareness, to learn and grow. So knowing your useful spirit is really quite important. And that useful spirit is one of the 5 elements. But it can also be power, or wealth, or output, or resource, or friends and competitors. So if you know that what's most useful for you is to go for the power element, then in life you need to pursue those things when you gain status and authority. If on the other hand, you understand your chart to be one where instead of seeking power and authority, you need to make friends and be very competitive, win friends and influence people, that's you approaching life in a different way. It's like understanding what you need to do to make the most of your earthly experience. And understanding what's useful to you can really help you improve your luck. Now, talking of luck, there's a luck you're born with. That's the structure of the spirit in your natal chart. But we also encounter luck cycles. So every 10 years, you encounter a new luck cycle with different elements, with different spirits. You could be coming into a time where the water chi is strong. For some people, water chi can be power. For other people, it can be wealth. For somebody else, it could be a time for them to show their creative performance. So understanding where you are with your luck can make a difference. And this comes back to the point that Howard mentioned, because for baby boys and baby girls, the luck cycles run differently. So you have your job description for your spiritual being, having an earthly experience, and then you get assignments. And these assignments come with your luck cycles. So males get assignments in a particular order, females get their assignments in a different order. But still, there's a lot of people with the same job description and the same list of assignments. One chart, many lives. Why would there be differences in those lives? They have the same chart. Let's use an example. Allow me to introduce you to Mr. Midsummer. Mr. Midsummer was born on Midsummer's Day in 1982, the 21st of June. He was born in the evening at 9:30. He was born in the UK. And he was born in London. But in the summer of 1982, there was something called daylight savings time. So, although the clock said 9:30, in London, when Mr. Midsummer drew his first breath, the sun said it was 8:30. And the 4 pillars chart said it was dog hour. Mr. Midsummer, the day master, he's yin, that says yin wood, and that's pig. So Mr. Midsummer is a yin wood person. He has yang fire next to him and yang water. He are fire, fire, water. The earthly branches, he was born in the year of the dog, that says horse, that says pig, and the hour of the dog. So that's what this is an example of a 4 pillars chart. So Mr. Midsummer was born in summer, when fire energy is strong. When we look at the 4 pillars, one of the things we consider is the prevailing chi in the different seasons. So in summer, fire is strong. And when fire is strong, when you're hot, we want to cool down. So therefore, what's important for Mr. Midsummer, what brings balance to his chart, what brings luck to his life, is to have water available. And he does have water available in his chart. And when we study 4 pillars, one of the most important things we do is something called temperature adjustment. So it's balancing between hot and cold. So for Mr. Midsummer, his useful spirit is water. So what does that mean for him? It means that if he can bring water chi into his life, that will help him improve his luck. Now, we can see he's got yang water there. You see that the map is not totally cruel. It did not obliterate the whole chart. It left a bit for us to look at. So that yang water is what's most useful for him. And what's beneath the day master, we call that the house of spouse. So if Mr. Midsummer were to come to you for a 4 pillars reading and you identified that the useful spirit is water, you need to say to Mr. Midsummer, the location of the water in your chart is in your marriage palace. You need to make who you marry can be a source of support to you, but you still need to choose wisely. Water is also what's called the resource element in 4 pillars. The resource spirit. So the resource spirit is what supports you, what nurtures you. So you would say to Mr. Midsummer, actually, you need a wife who's really very caring. You need somebody who can be a huge source of support. And of all the different areas in your life, the person you need to turn to, the relationship you need to turn to for support is from the relationship with your wife. You're going to get a lot more support from her than you can expect from other people. And Mr. Midsummer says, oh, well, how will I find this wonderful wife? And you're going to say, well, there's lots of possibilities, lots of different people you could meet, but if you meet somebody who's got a cool chart, that will balance your hot chart. And also, you can say to Mr. Midsummer, if you can be in a climate where it's cool rather than it's hot, that will also help you. And Mr. Midsummer will go, oh, thank you very much. Now, climate. There's lots of nuances about the elements and climate, but in the time we've got available, let's talk about hot and cold, fire and water. So, in different places in the world, when that first breath is drawn, there's going to be different climates. And the climate at birth will certainly affect the quality of the fire and water in any 4 pillars chart. But you have the same 4 pillars chart if you're born on the same date at the same local time. So even though the weather might be hot in the northern hemisphere and cool in the southern hemisphere, the chi of the stems and branches is the same. It's the prevailing universal chi. But the local climatic conditions will have an influence on the chi. Now, Mr. Midsummer was born in London. at the same time as he took his first breath, there could be another Mr. Midsummer who was born in Manchester, where it was raining. So the different climate will have a different effect on the chart. And the local climate at the moment of birth affects the useful spirit. So for Mr. Midsummer's chart, which is a hot chart, those charts which were born, those charts for babies born in a cool place they'll be born with stronger, slightly stronger water chi, slightly weaker fire chi, and that will help them because the useful spirit is water. So if you think about the 80 babies, each with the same chart, because they were born in different climates, that will affect their luck. Now, talking about the weather at birth. Who knows what the weather was like when they were born? You're unlikely to know that. You might ask your mum, and your mum will go, "What do you want to know that for?" Your mum might not even remember. So, however, we can always find the general climate. We know the average temperatures, the average rainfalls for different countries. But there could be a microclimate in the local area. So it might be sunny in London and raining in Manchester, but actually in southwest London, over Kingston Hospital, it was raining, but not in the rest of London. So we don't know that. So we often do not have the climate information for the moment of birth. But even an understanding of the general climate can make a difference. Mr. Midsummer was born in a summer month. So in the northern hemisphere, in June, which is known as Wu, horse month, it's hot. Around the equator, it's hot all year round. And in the summer, it's in what we call the summer months in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, it's cold. That's the months of May, June, and July. So somebody with Mr. Midsummer's chart, who was born in the southern hemisphere, on a day when it was pouring with rain, could have different luck because the useful spirit in that same chart will have a different quality. So one chart, many lives, depends on the climate at the time you were born. Mr. Midsummer, this is Mr. Midsummer. So on the 21st of June 1982, who was actually born at 9:03, but within that hour there were around 80 baby boys who were born in the UK, but only one of them is going to inherit immense wealth and a title to the monarchy. So how do you explain that? One chart, many lives. Now, if Mr. Midsummer was born in another country, you could arguably be a prince somewhere else. But no, there are probably 70-odd young men walking around the UK, unless they've moved elsewhere, with the same chart. There are various factors that affect your luck, and some of those factors are known as scene factors, pre-heaven factors, the potential you were born with. So, Prince William, he was born into a royal family. He has different parents from all the other 70-odd babies walking around with his chart. His parents gave him the body. The 4 pillars is the structure of the spirit. Chinese people are very grateful to parents because the parents give us our body. And then, as spiritual beings, we can then come and have an earthly experience. So, one of the factors is the family you're born into. Now, where you were born can make a difference, because if you're born in the UK, there's a National Health Service, and if you lose your job, you can claim unemployment benefit. if Mr. Midsummer was born with the same chart somewhere else, his luck would be quite different because the background of that society, there might not be a National Health Service or an employment benefit. So again, your luck can depend on where you were born and also where you live. We've talked about the climate at birth. There's also the Feng Shui. Now when I say Feng Shui, I don't mean we run to the hospital with our notepad and calculate a flight star chart and do Mountain Star, Water Star in that delivery suite. Nothing like that. I mean the general surroundings. Were you born by a lake? Was it a beautiful lake? Was it the sea? What sort of mountains were there? If you were born somewhere with beautiful academic mountains that look like pens, would that have an influence on you? So I'm talking about the general natural beauty of the area. So those things you can't change. However, one chart, many lives, you are far more in control than you realise. You can choose your career, you can choose who you marry, unless you have an arranged marriage, but even then you can be rebellious and say no, and where you live. So, one chart, many lives, your own choices and deeds can make all the difference. And one of the things about Mr. Midsummer's life is, as Prince William, he probably has a far fewer post-heaven choices than other people with that same chart. When we read the four pillars, being able to read the four pillars and finding the useful spirit is very important, because for you and for everyone you do a reading for, as a spiritual being, having an earthly experience, knowing which element and which spirit is most important in your chart means you can make better choices. Now, you must not underestimate the effects of your choices and deeds, because success and failure can be influenced by time, by the different luck cycles. But if you understand what your useful spirit is, what element it is, and you can associate yourself with it, then you know you can make the most of your earthly experience. And you can also help others make the most of their earthly experience. So, the useful spirit in your four pillars chart can be affected by your birthplace and climate. So you can't change that. If you come to the workshop or if you have a four pillars reading with anybody who does four pillars, you should be able to understand what your useful spirit is. It's like your lucky element. Is it water? Is it wood? Is it fire? Is it earth? And once you understand what that is, it can help you improve your luck in your career and career relationships, in luck, career relationships and happiness, and you have a choice. So, if you want to contact me, there's the old-fashioned way. You can use the telephone, or you can text me, and I'm like, You can look at my website, and for those of you who like Facebook, I have a Facebook page, Learn Chinese Feng Shui. Well, thank you everybody.
I want to say thank